Hi, my name is Rich Hanlon. I'm your Adirondack nature guide. Today, I welcome you to my backyard in the northern reaches of New York's Adirondack Park to one of my favorite spots to sit and wait. And I'm doing just that today. As I look and listen, observing the birds around me, I'm employing a strategy that American nature writer and nature guide Enos Mills called waiting in the wilderness. He writes about it in his book called Adventures of a Nature Guide. It's a good read. And what I'm doing is I'm perched on a log, just sitting here quietly, looking, listening, observing the life of the forest unfold around me. And one of the very cool things that I'm noticing today is that I just before I started making this video was able to observe my first mixed flock of birds of the year. When the breeding season comes to an end, the birds have left their breeding grounds. Many of them have. There's some that are still breeding, but when the breeding season comes to an end, then they start moving around just looking for food, and will often form mixed flocks. And in this case, it was a group of about 15 American robins. I saw a handful of white-throated sparrows, which means there were probably more. 3 red-breasted nuthatches, 2 brown creepers, and of course, leading the mixed flock through our spruce fir pine forest were 6 chickadees, black-capped chickadees. It's such an amazing thing to see when these birds of different species form mixed flocks together as they move through the forest. And if you watch closely, different species of birds will forage at different places among the trees. Of course, the white-throated sparrows are on or close to the ground. The brown creepers work in the trunk from the bottom up. The red-breasted nuthatch working the trees from the top down on the bark. And you have chickadees working the outer branches of the trees. And American robins, they seem to be mainly staying on the main beams of the big white pines here. But then there's also some, of course, foraging on the forest floor as part of that mixed flock. So there were just birds everywhere a couple minutes ago. And one of the, I think, best ways to observe a mixed flock this time of year, as summer becomes, I don't even know if are we midsummer, late summer, early summer. It feels like we're past the cusp of early summer in the Adirondack Park. We're either midsummer or late summer, but mixed flocks are starting to form. So one of the best ways to observe mixed flocks is to do just what I'm doing right now. Find a nice spot in the forest where you can have maybe some edge habitat, some open space for viewing, but also some thick forest, at least on one side, and wait. And if you are gifted with such an opportunity, the birds will come to you. That's one of the special things about doing this waiting in the wilderness strategy is, some days there's this amazing experience when I have a mixed flock of birds, with some of them flying past me within arm's reach. But sometimes maybe waiting in the wilderness, means waiting in the quiet solitude of nature and observing a snail or a slug eat a mushroom on the log that I'm perched on. You never can tell. There are certain things that I expect to unfold when I wait in the wilderness, and I always expect to be surprised in some way. Waiting in the wilderness is a strategy that you can employ in your observations of wild nature too. And you don't have to be in some vast expansive forest like I am. You can even do this in a town or in a smaller park, or at your favorite wild space, whether maybe it's in a forest, maybe it's along the edge of a lake. There goes our hummingbirds. My gosh, beautiful. You can employ this strategy of wading in the wilderness wherever you are. And if you're looking for someone to help guide you in the experience of wading in the wilderness during your next Adirondack adventure, look me up today by visiting www.wnnc.net. Give me a call or shoot me an email using the contact information provided below. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.